Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. Welcome. Critical analytics. Here we discuss scripture, current events, situations, in a very critical analytical way. No conjecture, no supposition, no belief matrix, just the facts, mathematics, reason, logic. If you can't prove it, we're not interested in it. That's what critical analytics is all about. So today we're going to discuss the Joseph story. Today we're going to discuss the Joseph story. And Joseph's story is very important. All the stories are important. But the Joseph story is very significant because it deals directly with our situation in a somewhat detailed way. All the scriptures deal with our situation. There are locked scriptures and unlocked, sealed and unsealed. It all deals with our, when you boil it down, all deals with our situation, all of it. From two perspectives. The sealed Bible deals with it from the perspective of false Israel is us. That's the trick. See, they're the chosen people, false Israel. So it deals with from that perspective. It was a false perspective, but they was given the rule for 500 years. So that book was given to them. And their purpose was to make history shed blood so the scriptures would not give them the best teaching. Because that's the reason why they were made, to make history shed blood. Right? So God chose to make them that way. He said he would give them guidance. So that's what the sealed book, because if you don't give them guidance, you would give them guidance, right? To do what? To do what you created them to do. Make history shed blood. So we have a little take on that with the end. So we see some people trying to deceive us about Joseph as they try to deceive us about Exodus 5. Deceive us about all the scriptures. They twist around, turn it. They time frames. They say things that will occur in the future actually has occurred in the past. Things that's occurred in the past occur in the future. It says they will deceive the whole world. And so they're playing these games. But we deal with the scripture. We don't say it's corrupt. Yeah, there's verses that have come. Some of the scriptures, right? Translations are bad. I acknowledge that. Right? But there's a transliteral, but it's not corrupt. And Allah said he would perfect his life. So his life is a scripture. So if he's perfect his life, then how can it be corrupt? Unless he doesn't know what perfect means. He says he will perfect his life. So the Quran says we must. The Quran will not tell us, Allah will not tell us in the Quran that we must believe in that was revealed before the prophet as happened, right? If it was worthless, corrupt. Okay, brother, so we're going to move into this. So you have, for instance, you have Lion Farrakhan. He's destroyed all together. It's like he destroyed the Abraham covenant. He says we're not going anywhere, which means he's calling Allah a liar. He's calling Master Muhammad a liar. He's calling Muhammad a liar because that's the full purpose of Master Muhammad coming here, right? To inform us, remind us that there's a covenant, we have a covenant with him. And Elijah Muhammad spent 40 years, right? Cultivating that reminder. And then we have 40 years of Lion Farrakhan, Aaron, right? Son of addition, who did say would do everything he could to destroy that vision, destroy the knowledge of that covenant. That's what he's been doing. But he said we're not going anywhere. That means we suffer, we sacrifice 464 years in vain. So we're sinful. Then he comes to tell us that, well, we're going to inherit the land we was imprisoned in, based on the story of Joseph. So one day we're going to inherit this land. We're going to rule it. One day. You'll say when? 1,000 years from now, million years from now, billion years from now. See, it's bullshit. One day we're going to rule the land that we was imprisoned in. Even though Elijah Muhammad said, our purpose is to get out of here, right? And he says we'll be fools to want to stay in the land of imprisonment. And then there's a story about the message of the covenant. They will tell you, oh, Elijah's the last one, there's no one after him, right? Blah, 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 blah. And they use Malachi to prove Elijah's credibility. See? Well, you see, it's right there. I believe Elijah. Elijah's got his own name and everything. That's your name, right? Okay, they beat the Christian preacher, everything with a hit with that. But then it says clearly there'll be this messenger of the covenant that will come to Elijah's temple. He will set Elijah's seat, right? He will clean it up, right? He's the one that can fulfill the covenant. See, when they call him a messenger, the messenger of the covenant. So what about that? See, you're going to say, oh, you're going to beat him over the head about this part, but you neglect that part. Christ says those that do that are cursed. See, you're going to pick and choose, or that part, but see, because no one's talking about the messenger of the covenant. Christian preachers know that. That's right there. So he's trying to tell you that the story of Joseph, he twists it all the way around like he does everything. See, first said we're not going anywhere, but the story of Joseph, he used that as his reference point to show that we're going to rule this country one day, because Joseph became the ruler in Egypt. But if you read the story of Joseph carefully, which most people don't, because most of the demons are Egypt anyway, no, the captivity came after Joseph. And we're going to talk about that. It didn't come to precede Joseph, it succeeded Joseph, the captivity. He's trying to say, well, the captivity, and then after captivity, Joseph goes and took control around. It's opposite. Okay, brothers and sisters, we're going to move on and explain this. It's not a lengthy presentation, not intended to be, but we're going to talk about that, Joseph, and from the point of view from the angel, right? And specifically those visions of Pharaoh that he translated. Hold on for a second, brothers. Give me a second here. Okay, brothers and sisters, let's go into it. Story of Joseph. Who will win the war of Armageddon? Elijah Muhammad talked about who would survive it. We're beyond that point. See, we've survived at this point. Now, we intend to win it. See, Moses talked about survival. Joshua, he went to war. Joshua was a general, he's a war. See, a war prophet, if you will. See, Elijah Muhammad was a messenger. See, but Joshua, messenger of the covenant, he's a warrior. See, he went to war. So he's not about survival, because Moses was about surviving Egypt. Joshua was about winning. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. And one thing the last message that Elijah Muhammad gave us when he was in the hospital, they claim on his deathbed, they would have vigils where the brothers and sisters would come to the temple, right? At night, every night. He would send messages to us, through Minister Yusuf Shah, who was the minister at number 2, position that Lion Ishmael seems to be trying to hold down. And also Brother Raymond Sharif, who was the supreme captain at the time. So the last message we received says, remember the story of Joseph. Remember the lessons, but also remember the story of Joseph. Because Joseph had a coat of many colors. And why would he say that? He didn't explain it. See? So who told him to say that? That's very interesting because Angel Key explains that. So you say, well, how did Elijah Muhammad know that one? That's very interesting. They said, remember the story of Joseph. Because it says that Joseph had a coat of many colors. So what was Elijah Muhammad's take on that? He didn't say it. He just said, remember it. Okay, let's go. Okay, so we're going to talk about those visions that the Pharaoh had that no one could figure out but him. Those dreams. And Joseph interpreted. Now, I'm not going into detail here, but Joseph and Daniel are the same person. It also represents the Son of Man, because Daniel represents the Son of Man. If you look in the furnace, he's thrown into the furnace. That's what Nebuchadnezzar says. That looks like the Son of God. They said, well, that wasn't just Daniel. Well, who else could it have been? If Meshach, and Abednego, right, were thrown to the furnace because they wouldn't worship false Israel, right? The golden image of gold, the image of us, and not us. That's what it means. Don't mean the image, like, a statue. Image, like when you're an image of something, that means you're similar to it. So they refused to worship false Israel, because that Nebuchadnezzar was the false Nebuchadnezzar also. And they were thrown in the furnace. And everybody in the land that didn't worship. So where was Joseph? Where was Daniel at? I mean, they said, well, Daniel's out of the country. He was out, he was on vacation. That's BS. He had to be the one. Right? Anyway, let's move on. So suddenly there came out of the river 7 cows, fine looking, fat. They fed the meadow. Now we know from the angel 7, it's talking about one of the creatures, because it has 6 wings, and then the creatures have 7. So we're going to define that as the original nation, those cows. See? And prior to Elijah Muhammad's departure. See? Those are the cows. See? And they were feeding in the meadow. Now it said it came out of the river. Those who understand the angel know what the river means. I put the water above that, but water's above the river, so the meadows. So I just left it in water, right? But it could also meadows. So that's where they would right? Suddenly there came out of the river 7 cows, fine looking, and they was feeding in the meadows. So those of you study angel, you should be able to keep up with this. Those you haven't, well, we're here to teach you. Then it said, behold, 7 other cows came after, ugly cows. Now we define ugly cows, right? Because I'm departed, see? And they took their place. It's like they ate up the other ones, right? And they ate up the fine looking, so, right? Because they're in their place, they ate them up. See? So we know after Elijah departed, right? That would be the structure. We don't change the sequence here. The sequence remains the same. See? That's what it's talking about. So it's tell you a time frame, right? So this is talking about, it's really even more general than that, because it's going back further, but I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here. But it's talking about I'm going to explain it later, but it's talk about their treatment of us. We said that. I don't want to explain it here. Anyway, that situation right there. Let's talk about it. So we're going to try to explain this later. Then, he had two situations. Then he had another one. Then he said he saw a stalk. Okay, brothers and sisters, this is the second situation here. Now, in this situation, they're talking about a stalk. First, they talk about cows. Now, they're talking about a stalk. So, like he says, the both visions are the same. So, let's change the symbols from cows to stalk. So, I'm showing it here, right? So, and the stalk had two, right? It was plump and good. So, it's two aspects to it. See, so I'm showing that the top two is the good and the bottom two is the plump stalk. So this refers to, this is the resurrection after the war. See, it was a war, when war starts, right? And the four winds blow, you have that resurrection. See, it jumps in, because it's showing two situations. It's showing a situation where America, God can make God, was doing great before the war. See, those are good times. But it's been a dramatic change, right, after the war. So it's showing you Angel from two perspectives, before and the after. It's just dealing with the before and the after. It's not doing all the details in between. Just before and the after. Okay? So before it says, right, everything was great. Those are good times. See? But then the famine is going to come. See? And it said you had, so again, right, in the first part, right, the cows, everything, those was the cows, they was eaten up, those are plump cows and everything. They was eaten up by the, the thin ones. But now, they're up there again after the war, after the resurrection, right? And they're about to be consumed, right? Again. That's what it's talking about. Hope you understand. So it's just talking about from 2 points of view. The before and after. The before the war, right? The period of time where America was doing all great and everything. And then after the war. Okay? Just talking about, see, all these stories come at the whole timeline from different perspectives. The story of Joseph is coming from 2 aspects, the before and after. That's all. See, time of good and time of famine. And they was told, well, we go into the next section here. But see, so here's a second. So here it is there right there, because this talking about those of you that study the angel understand they're talking about this is the resurrection. When the 4 winds blow, this is the resurrection. See, and America and Britain, right, has been thrown out. The Middle East and false Israel is gone. Abomination of desolation is taking place, right? And the 4 winds has blown, right? Okay, so I probably could have said winds here would just say stalk period, right? But you understand, okay? So Then it says, they behold, 7 thin heads blighted by the east wind. So they was connected with the wind. The 4 winds blowing. See, these are connected with the wind. Okay? So, and it says, these ate up, right? These ate up the 4 plump good ones. Well, it didn't say ate up the good one. It said just, it said, blight and 7 heads devoured the 7 plump and 4 heads. It didn't say it devoured the good ones. It said devoured the plump ones. So you got to read this very carefully, because before, remember, let's go back here, make sure we understand it. See, they was defined as cover of stalk, plump and good. Plump and good, right? But here, the only ones that's devoured, right, are the plump and 4 heads. The same thing about the good ones. Okay? So this is the point where the judgment takes place and demons are cast out. They're devoured. They replace, these have devoured them. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. That's what's happening here. That's what's happening here. Hope you understand. So, I just want to make it clear. That's the way that works. So now, there's only 2 situations here. Before and after. The good times and now the famine. Okay? Like the famine or the angel of death is dressed in black, right? You notice something? Okay, let's move on. So then when you read this whole story, you have a situation where it's talking about, see, Lion Farrakhan has distorted all of this. He's telling the people that we're Joseph, and one day we're going to inherit the country that we were enslaved in. See, totally backwards. So he get away with this because nobody calls him out, because they're not following him because his wisdom, his knowledge. They're idolaters. They're like him. They're like him. I wonder what they're going to do when he's gone, because he got 2 feet in the grave. He won't last a year. He won't last a year. This 2021, he won't last a year. And he's got some hard days coming ahead of him. Very hard days. So he's telling it all backwards, because the story is Joseph preceded the enslavement. The enslavement occurred after Joseph, his descendants. So he was the one that was taken to captivity, and there was a brief time where he was helping Egypt, explaining to them what to do to save their ass, right? And then they turned on him, and they didn't actually. During that time, remember, he was in prison during that time when he was trying to tell them what to do, say them. He was in prison. See, they just brought him out to explain this here, but he was in captivity. And he was telling them what to do from an agricultural point of view. That's the whole story from an agricultural point of view. You got to pay attention to these things, brothers and sisters. He was saying the whole thing from an agricultural point of view. So he was telling them what to do. How to save their ass. See? But he was in prison at the time. He was innocent. They threw him in prison. How did he get in prison? Because his brothers sold him into prison. Sold him into slavery. They sold him in Egypt into slavery. Then once he was in Egypt, he was in prison. Brothers and sisters, this should be very clear, especially those who claim to study Elijah Muhammad. And then the descendants after him was thrown in slavery for 40 years. So that's the story that we're told by Elijah Muhammad. He says that we was brought over here 64 years before, that's a secret they're keeping, in 1555, 64 years before the slavery actually started. It was in preparation, right? The Europeans brought us over here, right? We was thrown in, we was taken and betrayed by, the Bible tells that it's the Ishmaelites, the Arabs, our brothers, right? Because they thought that they should inherit after Abraham because they were the oldest son by his servant. But the one that God blessed was Isaac, his son by Sarah, his wife. Ishmael was jealous. He turned on us, right? He took our land and sold us into slavery. That's the story. So that's how we got here. They betrayed us. We were Muslims. They betrayed us. Because Joseph, remember Joseph's story was he saw in the vision, God revealed to him that he's going to be the top one after all this was over with. He's going to rule all his brothers. He's going to rule everything. That's us. The story is right there. Just read it. Most of the stuff you can just read. It's in the sealed Bible, but it's still there. Once I explain it to you, you should understand it. So during that time, he was telling Pharaoh how to save his ass. And that's what happened. Because of 64 years, the Europeans came over there. They came over there escaping blight, escaping poverty, escaping famine, they escaping disease, escaping tyranny, escaping everything. Because they didn't have anything. So they came over here and took it from everyone else. That's their racism. I'm not going to the mathematics of it, but that's what they did. They had nothing. And they didn't know how, they was having famine because they didn't know how to do proper agriculture. They didn't know. They was just raping the land like they rape everything else. They didn't know. So in Ireland, it was a blight. Nothing would grow there. And they're having similar problems all over Europe. So they came and took from everyone else. When they came here, like so-called Thanksgiving, the indigenous people showed them all that food. They never saw anything like that before. They never saw it. I mean, that was like, they never saw all that food and everything. They wasn't getting that over in Europe. They wouldn't get anything like that. I mean, it blew their mind. And being who they are, right? As evil as they are, they instead of trying to work with the people and sharing it, they took it. They took it all. So they took America and everything else. See, they claim they're good people. Anyway, so that's what happened. So what happened, Elijah Muhammad's story is, right, the way he explained it from Master Muhammad, that we was put in the prison, we was in prison, in cages, male and female, right? And the children that was produced, they would take those children away from the parents while they were still babies and raise them up as animals. The children had no connection with their parents, no language, no history, no culture, no connection whatsoever. And they was told they was animals, and they had no reference point, and they look around, they see everybody was white, and the only ones that are black, and they show them gorillas that are black, and they had no way of learning, nothing to compare it to, so they assumed they was animals. And that went on for a long time. A lot of black folks really assumed they were animals. That went all the way up to, some of that was even in effect. Some even believe it right now, I'll tell you the truth. Some even believe it right now. But that was definitely, that's why Harriet Tubman said she could have freed a lot more if they knew they were slaves. Because they was animals, they think they were slaves. And some of them didn't think at all, they didn't have any ability to think because they made sure you didn't have that. So that's the story of Joseph. So during that time, right, they was using us, our ancestors, the ones that in that 64-year period, to teach them how agriculture, because we knew. Teach them. That's how I learned it. That's how I learned their civilization. That's how I learned it. We civilized them. See? They claim they civilized us. We civilized them. So we taught them agriculture, we taught them all kinds of things. See? But primarily agriculture, how to farm, right? And livestock, the whole 9 yards. We taught them that during that 64-year period. That's the story of Joseph. And Joseph warned them, right? See, it's a backstory here, right? See, it's not only by us being over here, there's an underlying warning there that they should not abuse us because they was abusing the land and everything else. That's why this problems happen. So he tell them, no, stock stuff up, put stuff away for the bad times coming. So he told them, don't abuse us, don't hurt us, don't harm us. Like the Quran says, go not near that tree, talking about us. These should be unjust. Adam and Eve said, do not eat a tree of knowledge of good and evil, right? Or that day you eat it, you will die. That's talking about us also. And that day, talking about, if you understand Genesis, a day and night, each one is 500 years, right? So the day you eat it, the day you will die. So it means they started just doing this day 500 years ago, and so they're going to die within this day. So they have 5 years. I'll talk about that more another time. But that's why it says, and when you read Genesis, they have day and night. They broke down, and each day is broken into two parts, a day and a night. The day is 500 years of it, the night is 500 years of it. Because each day is like, it's like they say a day, each day, right? There were 6 days, 7 days. Each one represents 1,000 years. Said days as 1,000 years, 1,000 years a day. But within it, that was broken down into two parts, day and night. So that means the day was 500 years, night is 500 years. So it says that the day you do it, that's this period of time is 500 years, because this is 500 years that we was through the furnace of affliction. That's what it said. Let's make man now like our image, right? Male and females. That wasn't talking about Adam, because Adam was made and the female came along later. No, it was simultaneous, the male and female together. See, because we're together, 360 degrees, 180. See, Adam is that mess. Female's afterthought. She's start evil. She brought evil to the world. She's to be oppressed. She'd be watched. No. Male and female say, let's make man. Male and female. So man applies to both together, 360 degrees. But male and female, man is divided into male and female. And if you understand scripture, man, when they say man, they're talking about the male and the female together. See? 180 degrees, 180 degrees, equals 360. And it said they was told to be fruitful, multiply, and have control over everything. That's talking about us during that 500 years. See? But we had to go through the furnace affliction 500 years to make that happen, prepare our way, right? To be ready to take control of the kingdom, right? In perfection, right? All flaws burn out. Because we're seeing all the flaws being coming out now, we burn them out. We burn up all the flaws. All these vipers and demons and all that kind of stuff. Suleiman, that's his job to get rid of all of that. Identify it and get rid of it. And I am identifying it. Before you get rid of something, before you get rid of something, you have to identify it. So that's the story. So he told, don't mess with them. Store it up. Store up some good vibes with these people. Because when the famine comes, right, and you don't have any, you're going to be destroyed. See, it says what it says. It says depleted. So it's not talking about, right, cows and agriculture, stuff like that. See, it's talking about us. Because see, we characterize as the tree. See, like vegetation or something. Then Pharaoh said, Joseph, the dreams of Pharaoh are one. God has shown Pharaoh what he's about to do. So that's what's up. This is about to happen. That's why I'm revealing it to you now, because this is about to happen. Why tell you about this like Farrakhan does 6 months later? It happened. This is about to happen. The 7 good cows are 7 years. 7 years. Those are good. See, those are good years. And 7 good heads are 7 years. That's right. The dreams are one. So both of them represent 7 years, but it's talking about the 7 parts. Like each beast, each creature had 7 parts to it, right? And the 7 thin, ugly cows which came after are the 7 years and 7 empty, blighted by the east wind of 7 years of famine. So he had 7 good years and 7 years of famine. All time, it's literally 7 years. It's talking about just a period of time, right? See? And indeed, 7 years of great plenty will come throughout all the land of Egypt. Oh, is America be doing good? Great. Plenty. See? They'll be doing great. See, they told not to mess with us. Don't go to that tree. Treat us fairly. Treat us justly. We were going to be here in prison because that's what it said. Told us submit to Adam. So it's not so much what he did, but it's how he did it. He did not have to treat us. He had to rape us and beat us and torture us. He could have treated us justly. We'd have been his servants, but he could have treated us humanely, not dehumanize us like they did. See, and after 7 years of famine will arise and plenty will be forgotten. Because there won't be no, they're going to forget the plenty they had, just like they never had it, right? And plenty will be forgotten in the land of Egypt. and the famine will deplete the land. I mean, the famine is going to just everything's going to be gone. See, that's because remember the gold and silver is going to be gone. That's what it said next. Is gold and silver is going to be gone. That's the original nation and the Levites. They're going to be gone. That's the gold and silver. They're going to be gone, right? So it says, and plenty will be known, and 7 years, and all plenty will be forgotten. The land of Egypt, the famine will deplete the land. There won't be anything left. See, that's the invasion. Death and Hades coming in behind, right? After gold and silver is taken, right? And the plenty will not be known in the land because of famine. And so the plenty will not be known in the land because of famine, the following famine. For it will be very severe, very severe. And the dream was repeated to Pharaoh twice because the thing is established by God, and God will surely bring it to pass. That means he emphasized, he said twice, he emphasized that this is going to happen. And it's going to be very severe. See? It'll be a terrible thing. Now therefore let Pharaoh select a discerning and wise man, set him over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh do this, and let him be appoint officer over the land to collect 1/5 of the produce of the land in the 7 fruitful years, and let them gather all the food of those good years that are coming, and store up grain under the authority of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities. Then the food shall be a reserve for land for 7 years of the famine which shall be in land, that the land may not perish during the famine. That means don't mess those people. Be nice, goodwill with them. Because if you don't, right, the country's going to be deleted, going to be perished. It's not going to be any more Egypt anymore. The land may not perish under the famine. The famine that be the end of them when the bad times come. But they didn't listen to Joseph. That's the point. Because you see, the next thing happened, they enslaved the people. They enslaved the descendants. They didn't do what he said. They didn't. So you got to understand when you read this. They enslaved the descendants. They didn't do. That means America is going to be, because it says that Babylon could have been healed, but it wasn't. That's what it's referring to. If they're listening to Joseph, right, then when the bad times come, right, then we wouldn't we wouldn't have the attitude towards them that we did. We're not talking about the demons. Demons, we know we loved them. They loved them. We'd have the attitude because now you're talking about vengeance. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, for their treatment of us. They raped us, beat us, hung us, dehumanized us, everything you can imagine, everything you cannot imagine, because we cannot even imagine. So don't even try. If you're an original person, you can't even imagine. Even if they did, you can't. Because your mind would just be messed up as theirs is. But believe me, you cannot imagine it. And the stuff that you can imagine a lot of stuff. So multiply by times 10, and you get some idea how evil and sick these people are. That's a story, brothers and sisters. So I'll make you understand. See, that's the story. This is a redux, because the first one I sent you was sent in error. See, it was a draft, and I sent in error. So I'm just going to redux. I'm going to delete the previous one. So I hope you understand, brothers and sisters. So I think that's it there. Yeah. So let me go back and make sure you understand one more thing here. Because the Redux version, these ate up the other ones. That means they got rid of, here's the demons down here now, they cast out. This is New Jerusalem up here. This is the waters. This is the ark that's floating on the waters, right? So the waters are the tribulation that's going to take the flood. Once this is removed here, once this is removed, let me see if I can show that. See right here? That's when you talk about Jonah. They was holding the flood back. They was holding the flood back because you see lightning and river. This lightning also is the sea. So this is the flood that's going to drown out European countries. They was holding it back. But once they were removed, you see, so they're really messing over the Middle East. They should be kissing those people. They should be getting rid of false Israel and kissing the Iranians because they don't hold the flood back. See, but they don't go the other way because they will not submit to us. They go in the other way. They will not submit. The analytical mind refuses to submit to the spatial mind. We had under submission for trillions of years, but now it's loose. It was always in rebellion, but we had it under control. Now it's loose, right? Has its own back, right? It refused. So therefore, they won't do it because that means they have to come in submission and acknowledge who they are. See, they want to think they're superior when they're inferior. They're not even, the scripture call them beasts. They don't want to be in that, they don't want to be in that situation. See, they don't be classified as that. They want to be on top. So they're going to end up on the bottom and then eventually gone altogether. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. See, so if you still have the old version, just get rid of it. I'm going to delete it. Okay? That's it. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters.